Hey everyone, and welcome back. I think today we're diving into something that we can all kind of relate to in some way, the power of community.
Hmm.
It's funny though, right?
Yeah.
We wait till life throws us a curveball before we're like, whoa, I'm out here on my own. It's like waiting until you're parched to start digging a well.
Right.
Not the best recipe for success.
Not at all.
And, I've uh, I've learned this the hard way.
Hmm.
A few years back, I was going through a tough time.
Yeah.
Job loss, relationship issues, the whole shebang.
Oh, wow.
And it just felt like I was hitting a wall. And the worst part,
Yeah.
I felt completely alone.
Yeah.
I'd always prided myself on being independent, figuring things out on my own.
Right.
But suddenly that strength felt like a weakness.
Absolutely. What's so interesting here is this idea of hyper independence
Yeah.
that's so prevalent, I think, in our society today.
Mm.
We're constantly bombarded with these messages, about going it alone, being self made. But the truth is that that can be a dangerous myth.
Yeah.
It sets us up for isolation and vulnerability, especially when we need support most.
It's like building a house on a shaky foundation.
Exactly.
It might look good for a while,
Right.
but the first sign of trouble, the whole thing could crumble.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder, who is most at risk of falling into this lone wolf trap?
That's a great question. There are a few groups I think that immediately come to mind.
Okay.
First, you have those individuals who are naturally self-reliant.
Right.
They view asking for help as a sign of weakness, but in reality, it takes strength to acknowledge you need support.
I see that.
Then you have young professionals and entrepreneurs.
Mm.
Driven to succeed, they're putting in crazy hours, but often neglecting the importance of building those relationships along the way.
Yeah, they're so focused on the hustle, they forget that success is often a team sport.
Exactly. And then lastly, you have communities facing major transitions or crises.
Oh, yeah.
Economic hardship, social unrest, natural disasters.
Wow.
These situations can really fragment communities, leaving people feeling isolated and overwhelmed just when they need each other most.
Yeah. And it's heartbreaking to think about, especially when you consider the impact on mental and physical well-being.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a growing body of research that shows that strong social connections are crucial for our overall health and longevity.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like having this invisible safety net,
yeah.
knowing you're not alone in the world.
That's a great way to put it. And that's exactly why it is so important to shift our focus from taking to giving when it comes to community.
Okay.
It's not about waiting till you're in a crisis to reach out for help. It's about actively contributing to your community before you need anything in return.
So what does that look like in practice?
It can be surprisingly simple.
Okay.
It's about those small, everyday acts of kindness and support.
Mhm.
Helping a neighbor with their groceries, offering to babysit for a friend, sharing your skills or knowledge with someone who needs it. Yeah. These seemingly small gestures really build trust, create connections, and lay the groundwork for a strong and resilient community. And, sometimes the most valuable thing that you can give is simply your time and attention. Think about it. How often do you really feel truly heard?
Honestly, not as often as I'd like.
Right.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in our own heads, our own to-do lists, that we kind of forget to really tune in to the people around us.
And that's where the power of active listening comes in. It's about being fully present with someone, putting aside your own distractions, and really trying to understand their perspective.
Hmm.
And it's amazing how much deeper a connection you can build when you truly listen without judgment or interruption.
Yeah, you're basically saying you matter, your experiences matter.
Yeah.
And it's such a powerful message to convey.
It is.
But let's be real, it's not always easy to be a good listener,
Right.
especially when you're dealing with your own stuff.
Yeah.
Any tips for those of us who struggle with this?
Absolutely. First, be mindful of your body language. Put away your phone, make eye contact, and lean in to show you're engaged.
Okay.
Second, ask clarifying questions to make sure you understand what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly, resist the urge to offer solutions or advice unless they specifically ask for it.
Right.
Sometimes people just need to vent or process their emotions without feeling pressured to fix anything.
That's so true.
Yeah,
It's like that saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
exactly.
And sometimes caring means just shutting up and listening.
Exactly. And as you build these deeper connections, it's important to remember that community isn't a one-size-fits-all concept. You need a diverse network of relationships to thrive.
Okay. Now you're speaking my language.
Okay.
I've always been a bit of a social butterfly, But I've come to realize that not all connections are created equal.
Exactly. You need both surface-level connections for practical support and those deeper, more intimate bonds for emotional resilience. Think
Yeah.
of it like a well-balanced portfolio. Your surface-level network, it's like your stock market investments. It's broad. It provides access to resources and opportunities, but it might fluctuate depending on the market.
And those deeper connections are like your gold. They're stable. They provide a sense of security and belonging, and they'll always hold their value no matter what's happening in the world.
That's a brilliant analogy. So, how do we cultivate these different types of connections? It's about being open to new experiences, stepping outside your comfort zone, and saying yes to opportunities that come your way. It could be joining a local book club, volunteering at a soup kitchen, taking a dance class, or even just striking up a conversation with a stranger at the coffee shop.
This reminds me of that time I joined a community garden.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't exactly sure what to expect, but I figured it'd be a fun way to learn about gardening and get some fresh air.
Did you like it? Was it just about tomatoes?
Oh, it was so much more than that. I met some incredible people from all walks of life. We shared gardening tips, swapped stories, helped each other out with weeding and watering. It became this unexpected source of friendship and support. And honestly, it came at a time when I really needed it. Remember that rough patch I mentioned earlier?
Yeah, with the job loss and all that.
Yep, that one. Well, guess who came through for me big time? My gardening buddies. One of them even connected me with a job opportunity when I was struggling financially. It just goes to show you never know where those connections will lead or how they might impact your life down the road.
That's such a powerful reminder that community can show up in the most unexpected ways. It's about being open to the possibilities and trusting that the right people will come into your life at the right time. Now, you might be wondering, okay, all this sounds great, but where do I even begin?
Hmm.
It can feel overwhelming to shift from lone wolf mode to community builder, especially if you're not naturally outgoing.
Yeah, I can see how that would be intimidating for sure.
The key is to start small and focus on consistency. It's like working out. You wouldn't expect to run a marathon without training first, right?
Right.
So start with small, manageable steps that you can incorporate into your daily or weekly routine.
So what are some concrete steps listeners can take, like actual things they can do this week to start building those community muscles?
I'm glad you asked. Here are a few ideas to get you started. First, commit to attending at least one community event per week.
Okay.
It could be anything that piques your interest.
Okay.
A book club meeting, a volunteer opportunity at a local animal shelter, a neighborhood cleanup, a pottery class, whatever floats your boat. The key is to put yourself out there, meet new people, and explore different aspects of your community.
I love that it's about saying yes to new experiences and seeing where they lead. And it doesn't even have to be a formal event.
Right.
Sometimes the most meaningful connections happen organically, like striking up a conversation with the barista at your favorite coffee shop or offering to help an elderly neighbor carry their groceries.
Absolutely. Those small acts of kindness can make a world of difference, both for you and for the recipient. And speaking of making a difference, another great way to build community is to start a small mutual aid initiative.
Okay.
This could be anything from a neighborhood tool sharing program to a community garden to a free little library in your front yard.
Oh, cool.
It's about identifying a need in your community and coming together with others to address it.
It's like taking that community spirit and putting it into action. And you know what I love about mutual aid initiatives?
Yeah.
They're hyper-local, focused on meeting the specific needs of your immediate community. It's like saying, hey, we're in this together, let's support each other.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be a huge undertaking.
Right.
Start small, see what works, and let it grow organically.
Right.
The important thing is to create a space where people can connect, collaborate, and feel a sense of belonging. Now, this next step might feel a bit more challenging, but it's crucial for building truly meaningful connections. Practice vulnerability.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so easy to put on a brave face and pretend we have it all together, but deep down we all crave that authentic connection.
And that connection can only happen when we're willing to let our guard down to share our struggles, our fears, our imperfections with those we trust.
Yeah.
It might feel uncomfortable at first, but vulnerability is the key to unlocking deeper intimacy and building relationships that go beyond the surface.
It's like that Brené Brown quote, vulnerability sounds like truth and feels like courage.
Mm-hmm.
Truth and courage aren't always comfortable, but they're never weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people shy away from vulnerability because they associate it with weakness. But in reality, it takes immense strength to open yourself up to others in that way.
Well said. And remember, vulnerability is a two-way street. When you open up to someone, you're giving them permission to do the same. And that creates a space for genuine sharing and mutual support. Now, one final thought I want to leave you with is this. Making these connections, building this community, isn't just about what you get out of it. It's about creating a more supportive, resilient, and compassionate world for everyone.
It's about shifting from a me mentality to a we mentality, recognizing that our individual well-being is inextricably linked to the well-being of our communities.
Exactly.
And when we invest in our communities, we're not just building a better present, we're shaping a brighter future for generations to come.
Beautifully put. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I challenge you to take one small step this week to invest in your community. It could be as simple as sending a text to a friend you haven't spoken to in a while, offering a helping hand to a neighbor, or simply making eye contact and smiling at a stranger. Those small acts of connection might seem insignificant, but trust me, they can have a ripple effect, creating waves of positive change that extend far beyond yourself.
So ditch the lone wolf act and embrace the power of community. Start building those connections today and watch your life transform in ways you never imagined possible. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and remember, we're all in this together.